when we take some moment into silence and explore all the richness of the mind. We appreciate how, as a being, we're always connecting, always creating a link with the world, with other people, with nature, with the Supreme, and with the Self. Meditating is all about connecting. Creating a connection that brings harmony in the self, that brings strength in the self. And when I sit quietly, I see within myself all the qualities of the soul. I know in my heart that there can be love. There can be genuine love. But I don't allow that love to come out so often. It is a feeling, an awareness which is there just rarely. And yet love is such a power, such a beautiful energy, a rich energy. So let me take just a moment to allow that love to emerge. A sense of love for the self. Seeing the self as a soul, as a spiritual being. There's love for the self because the self, the soul, is sacred. I am a secret being. The sacredness of the being, the beauty of the soul. And I know this is who I am, a soul. A being that belongs to the family of souls. And I allow my heart to feel the beauty of love for the self. And as I look around me, and as I remember the friends and relatives, I I can extend that love to each and every one. I can express love just through my thoughts and through my heart. And that love that comes from the soul is a soul that feels cleansed by that love. It's a love that washes away all the worries, all the negativity of the mind. And if I can create that feeling of love, I know that the connection with the self is bringing strength to the soul. And if I experience the qualities of the soul, I can use them to connect with others in such a beautiful way. And only when I experience the silence of the mind, can I feel also my connection with the world to be so beautiful. My love for nature, my appreciation for the greatness of life, just thinking about the wonder of planet Earth. And my presence in this physical world. So I connect to the world with my inner qualities. The dignity, the respect, and the reverence for life. So I stay in that state of silence, and as I allow the qualities of the soul to emerge, the inner love, the peace, and the strength of the soul, I nurture my connection with the self, with others, and with the world. Good evening. Hello, Shanti. Good evening. Thank you for being here. Friday evening, time for the weekend, but before we go on a weekend, we can take some time to reflect on some thoughts and use these reflection to enjoy the weekend even more. I mean, that's the purpose. I think some of you are coming for the first time, right? Or discovering the center, so welcome. My name is Eric, and always happy to welcome you here. Usually Friday night is an intimate little chit-chat in English. We do have many sessions, most of them in French, but Friday night we do call them Easy Fridays to keep them nice and easy. And what we do usually on this evening is to just take a different topic and reflect on a topic in order to stimulate our awareness. And we understand that meditation is an exercise to create a state of mind, a state of awareness. And the more we play with the consciousness, the more we play with the quality of the mind, the more we feel that we experience the world differently. If we are upset, or if we are worried, or if we are angry, our perception is distorted. We can connect to the world, but based on our own state of mind. And if our state of mind is peaceful, quiet, with confidence and courage, we look at things differently. And we find that most people suffer not because of what happened to them, but because of the way they respond to what happened to them. And meditation is a tool to strengthen the inner self so that we can connect to the world in a better way, but mostly also to appreciate the inner resources. And we find that sometimes in Raj Yoga that it's like if you're walking around and having millions of dollars in your pocket, but you don't know it. And you're on the street begging and asking for alms and apples, but you have a lot of money, you just don't know it. And sometimes maybe the money is hidden inside your clothes and you never saw it. So we feel the soul is a little bit like that. The soul has a tremendous resource, and it has a potential which is extremely beautiful. But very few people know how to tap into that potential and allow that energy to come out and translate into happiness, into harmony, into love, into confidence, courage, trust, dignity, etc., etc. And the last 2 weeks we looked at the topic of relationships, and we find that in relationships there can be chaos. The relationships can really destroy part of our life. Don't know if you ever had any conflict in your life, or did it ever happen that you didn't get along with someone, or maybe you get along with everybody from birth, but most people will tend to, at some point, go through a very difficult relationship, and a relationship that can really affect the quality of life. And we think of all the couples that fall in love and get married and see life in a beautiful way. And sometimes, of course, and we hope it lasts forever, but sometimes the couple goes through some hard time, and what was love can become quite destructive relationship. And words are being spoken, actions are being made, children are in between, question marks comes to the future. Sometimes it breaks apart the relationship, and it becomes, a form of pain that people can carry over a long period of time. I know a lot of people who don't just get along very well with their parents, and they feel that there's a lot of resistance to connecting to their parents, and they're upset and they're worried, or they're angry. Some people don't connect well with their boss and their colleagues at work. And other people just don't get along with themselves. No matter who they are with, that's fine, but they don't get along with themselves. So we could go on a lot on describing, I think, the difficulties that relationships can create in our life. And the last 2 weeks we looked at the aspect of relationship with the self. And then the second week was about relationship with others. And the thought was to maybe look tonight at a relationship we have with what some people call God, or the higher power, or the supreme, because we find that it's a beautiful experience to understand what I have available within myself, what is available when I connect with other people, and what is available when I go beyond and open the mind to connect with the higher energy. And I know, and we know, that everyone has different philosophies, beliefs, interpretations about this thing. They call it with different names. Some like to just think of life. Some don't believe in God. Some believe in God. Some believe so strongly that it gets really intense. Some want to believe but have a lot of doubts. Some would like to believe more, but they have many questions and they don't have answers. And some still are unclear. And others believe, but they don't know really what they believe in. They just believe. So it's confusing. I don't know where you stand about this, but each one has their own level of connection. We find that relationships are such that, as we say, it's a relation to something else, or to the self. We have relationships with nature. We have relationship with our body. We have relationship with food. We have relationship with movies. Everything is connecting. And sometimes we're not aware of the quality of connection. I don't know, I'm sure you can relate to some of these things, but in the past we used to have radios or CD players or tape players for some, and sometimes the quality wasn't that great. I don't know how old you are, but some of us, when we were younger, the television, the connection was so bad that you have to, push the TV a little bit, and then, oops, it gets better. Sure, you don't know what I'm talking about, right? Because now you're watching your phones, and it's all about the phone. But same, if you're connecting with the phone and the phone doesn't work, or it just says, please wait, and you have a little, wheel that is spinning and nothing happens, how do you react? We feel frustrated. We feel it's not connecting, and you're not getting what you want to have. I'm always amazed that we have made the phone so clever. They call them smartphone. But still I see people in their cell phone yelling, what do you say? I can't hear. It's not clear. Oh, sorry, it's cutting. And then call me again. The line is not clear. And how many times did we talk on the phone? And it's not easy to listen because it's not clear. So that's when the connection is not good. And when the connection is not good, but we're missing something. We're not having the experience that it should be provided. If we want to know something today, it's beautiful that you just take your phone, go in Google, ask something. Today I was working and we're just wondering about some words. Do we write them like this or like that? Just go to Google, quickly you get your answer. And so through the connection today on internet, you access the equivalent of billions of libraries that are just there at the tip of your finger. Imagine before, when there was no such connection and you would want to know something. Imagine, I know nobody can imagine that today, but you had to walk outside, put your coat, walk to a library, ask to be a member, have a little card, and they will tell you go 3rd floor, in such an aisle, you'll find a book, that's such a number, and you look into that book. Have you ever done that? I think I see some of you maybe too young to even have ever gone through a library. I used to have library cards, that's membership. And when they give you a book, at the end of the book they put a little pocket and they put a card, and you have to return the book, and you have a penalty if you don't return it 3 days later, right? That was connection. That was a very low, the efficiency was not that high. It was working, But it took a long time just to walk to the library, get your book, read through the book. Maybe you'll find information, maybe you don't. Today you just go on the phone, Google, connect. They are very proud to tell you that within a split of a second, they found 2,000 references. Not even 1 second. It's 0 point some seconds. It's kind of crazy. That's the power of connection. So for the yogis, hello, I'm Shante. For the yogis, we are, thinking about the same way. How do we connect with other people? How do you connect with the world? How do you connect with the self? Are you still with the old ways of library, going, walking, thinking, meeting someone, asking advice, getting a mantra, putting your mantra there, practicing your mantra, and eventually 3 months later you feel okay? Is that level of connection? Or do we have powerful connection through the mind that give you access to a world of experiences? Today people want to know what's going on in their life. So a profession which is doing very well today is psychologist. And so many friends of mine have their own psychologist. And they go and they talk and they say, what is happening? My mom did that to me, my dad did that to me, so what's happening to me? How do I figure it out? It's a long process. And they spend a lot of money, a lot of time searching for, what's happening inside. So connection is quite important because it creates, a channel of communication, of information, of energy, of qualities, of experiences. So this connection also becomes relationship. If you don't connect with someone well, then the relationship will not be working either. After a while, it might be your neighbor. You don't talk to your neighbor because every time you talk to your neighbor, it goes funny and doesn't get along. Or you don't connect well with animals because animals, you don't get anything from them and you get scared, you're afraid it might bite you, or you might get, some strange, lice or something, or dirt. So you don't like animals. So everything is a question of connecting. And if the connection brings something, then you are interested into it. If your phone never connects to anywhere, what do? Just throw it. You just buy another one, or you just don't want to play with it anymore. If every time your TV, every time you open your TV, nothing happens, you're not going to sit in front of a blank screen thinking, maybe it will happen later. You can't stay 3 hours in your living room in front of a black screen. People will ask you, what are you doing? You say, I'm just waiting. Connection is not good. It's a boring evening. That would be really a waste of time. And I think some people, they meditate like that. They sit and they wait. Nothing happens. And you said, and you had a good meditation? Well, it was quiet. Yeah, sit the whole night in front of your black TV screen. It will be quiet, but very boring. And I find people stop meditating because that's what happened. They sit with the screen of their mind, nothing shows up, boring. Let's go to see a movie, that's much better. And they prefer other things than meditation because connection doesn't happen. So the point is that the relationship will be based on the quality of connection. How do we connect with other people? And the relationship that we looked at the last 2 weeks, we played with the notion that to know someone, and that applies to the self. The thought was that we teach in the meditation course that knowing means answering 6 questions about someone. And we would say in general terms that if you want to know someone, you need to know the name, the address, the form, how they look like, what's their profession, what do they do, what's their activities, what are their qualities, and how do I connect with them, what's my connection, what's my relationship with them. And these 6 elements, the last 2 sessions, and we went at the details of it, they're not what we always think they are. For example, you may think, okay, this is a man, obviously French, maybe, okay, I would say I'm a journalist, okay, and then you put all these elements and you think, oh, I know him. And he's tall and he has black hair and he's a journalist and he speaks French. So is that a deep knowledge of the person? It's the name, you may know the name, etc. What we came up with last few weeks was actually that when we connect with someone, what if the name is not really, John or Mike or Francine or whatever the name it is? Because we connect with the body, really. If it's a man, it's a woman. But who is within the man and the woman? In Raj Yoga, and I won't go into the details because this is really what we did the last 2 weeks, but just to put you up to date, we think that there is a soul within each and every one of us. So what makes the body move is the soul. So now if I look at the soul of someone, then if I were to ask the same question, what's the name of that soul? That's different. You may know the name of your body, but do you know the name of your soul? Do you have any clue? Did you have a soul certificate? No? You don't have a name for the soul? So your soul has no name. That might be the name of a song, A horse with no name. That's a song with a soul with no name.
So, I'm practicing Jnana Yoga, and I've studied a lot regarding, you can say, many scriptures. Actually, the soul, we say ourselves, first we say I, then we say our name. If we close our eyes, just we see like I only exist. Each and everyone in this room, they call themselves I. So, sir, the definition that I is without any discrimination, means without any body, anything, this mass body. So, sir, in scriptures it is said that I is the soul, which was there in the past, future, and you can say present. So that I is said to be soul. That's it.
Right. So we agree with that, because we say as a joke, we say, I'm just teasing you now, asking you what's the name of the soul, but then we say soul has no name, because soul is soul. And we agree with that. We don't say that the soul has a name, but for spiritual purpose, sometimes someone whose name is Michael will meet a highly spiritual person, and that person will say, well, your real name is Prakash, light. Native people here in Canada who have a deep spirituality, they also have spiritual names. So they will identify physically with a name, but they would tend to personalize their inner being with another name, so that they understand that the name is given to the body, but I am not the body. So if I am the soul, and we also use that as a main mantra, if you want to say in meditation, we always say, I, the soul, I am a soul, which is very different, because we've been raised with the idea that I'm Eric. And we've been saying it so many times and so many times. And if someone asks you, how old are you? Very unlikely that you will respond, well, I'm eternal. You're not? Policemen ask you, what's your name? Very unlikely you would say, that's my name. Tell that to a policeman and see if he appreciates your deep spirituality. Policeman might say, no, sir, I'm asking you your name. And you would say, I have no name. I am soul. Try that with a policeman. He might not like it. And he will ask you, how old are you? Are you allowed to drive? I say, sir, I'm eternal. I was never born. I'll never be destroyed. What about you? Are you mortal? You must be so scared of dying. This is terrible.
Actually, we used to say I with the body. We always consider I with the body. That's the, you can say, Maya Shakti, darkness over the soul, over the brightness. If we just let the body go, then only I exist.
Yeah, because we used to say a lot, for example, I am 20, I am 30. When actually it's the body which is 30. It's like if you're in your car and the policeman again stops you, after having the first encounter, and it's, oh, this is a guy with the soul. And now you ask you who you are, and you say, well, I'm a Toyota. You would say, no, you're not a Toyota. I say, yes, I'm a Toyota. Look, this is Toyota. I'm Toyota. And when we say I'm Canadian, this is really like saying I'm Toyota. The body is Canadian. I always joke, and when they ask me, so where are you from? I say, oh, body was made in France, but it got imported in Quebec. But it's made in France. It's just an import. It was a good year, 62 was a good year. They imported a lot of those things. So I got it in France, but it's imported in Quebec. Body is body. So why I'm saying this, because even when we looked at connection with the self, the question is, which self am I connecting with? And some people try to have a healthy relationship with themselves, but they only see the self as I, the journalist, Canadian, French-speaking, 6'2", so many pounds, and so many years old. And that's how they connect with. And we say that connection will create a lot of distortion, because they will be feeling inside that will be very limited. And if we keep repeating, I'm 40, I'm 50, I'm 60, then you'll start to think, I'm getting old. I might die, right? And these thoughts start to come. But if I keep saying I'm a soul, and I'm in a body, feelings will be different. So connection is based on how I think. And I think differently when I answer these 6 questions. Who am I? What's my name? What's my form? What's the form of the soul? What's the form of the body? It's different. Where do I come from? You might say I come from India, I come from Brazil, I come from another country, but the soul comes from where? So we don't know these answers. If you meet a little boy in the street and you ask him, where do you come from? And he says, I don't know. You'll be very concerned. You're saying, you don't know where you come from? No. Who's your parents? I don't know. What's your name? Oh, I don't know. You take that boy to emergency service somewhere, thinking he must know who he is. And if we ask ourselves as a soul who we are and we don't know, well, this is a problem. And if we look at others and we only connect on the basis of a body, oh, she's like this, she or he, we're connecting with just the outside, and we don't learn how to connect with the inner being, the soul. So again, that connection will be different. It's a very simple example that is quite deep, and because it's real, that it happens to a few people. Imagine that you are a parent and you raise, and you, well, mostly men here tonight, but if you're a woman, you have a baby, and then imagine that by mistake, they go and wash the baby and they bring you the wrong one. And it happens, there's a few films about it. And so you raise someone, right, as my child, my son. But imagine that he's just 6, 7 years old, and somebody knocks at your door and says, we're really, really sorry. We just realized there was a mistake, and the one that you've been calling your son is actually somebody else, and your son is actually somewhere else. Would you like to know who is your son? Just imagine what happened. It will be very strange, isn't it? We did a story recently about a form of adoption in Quebec where you can deal with specific child services, and you can adopt a child, but you have 1 year before it's final. So they give you that child as adoption, but they still have 1 year to eventually return the child to the biological parents. So it's a little risk that people take. And they say 95% or 75% of the cases, or 90%, I can't remember, you'll keep the child. But they want to keep a window in case the biological parents, go through a big change and they are suddenly able to take the child. And we took an interview with a couple who adopted the child, but it took less than a year before they were so attached to the child that when social services came to take the child back, it was a big issue, because it was already their son. So I'm just trying to illustrate how we connect on the basis of thoughts that are not necessarily true. Because we think this is my child, but if somebody says, oops, sorry, there was a mistake, we always draw a joke about the other way, that if you one day were to be told by your mother, I'm sorry to tell you, but your dad he's not the one. There was another guy who just happened to be there, and he's your dad. And if you want to know, I'll show you who it is. Again, you'll have to change your mind about who is my father. And we feel that we've been souls for so many centuries without connecting with, the source, because not being able to know where the source is. Or we're connecting with people just on the basis of their bodies. A woman, so many years, so many pounds. Now you look at the, little, ads, wherever they put some ads for searching for people. And they're really looking for someone tall, so much weight, such color, eyes, and they're doing shopping for body shopping. It's a body shop. It's really the real body shop, and they search for bodies. It's quite strange, isn't it? They just search for bodies, and they want such a height. And I did a story. I work in the media, and then we did a story one day on. It was again before the phone, but it was a different phone, and they do online dating. And so the lady was on the phone, and we were filming, and she was saying, "This is like shopping." And so she was talking to a guy and says, "So how old are you?" and this. And if I were to do a little drawing of you, what will I do? Would I make it round or slim? Would I put hair on your head? No hair. She would tell us funny. She was shopping for bodies. Didn't care about if he was a smart person or not. That was totally secondary. They was just going through, kind of a physical data. That was really a relationship. She was looking for a relationship based on that. Well, we would argue in spirituality that relationship is based on connection, and connection will be based on information. What do I know? If you don't have a password for some websites, you can't get in. You need to have passwords. You need to have data. You need to have information. So I'll leave aside connecting with the self and others. That's what we covered last 2 weeks. But connecting with the higher force of energy, again, we'll have to question, do I know the name, the address, the form, the qualities, the activities, and my relationship with that being? For example, in Christianity, and I know in Hinduism sometimes as well, but Christianity, for example, the identity of God is very much fatherly. Christians really call God Father, our Father which is in heaven. They don't say our Mom which is in heaven. So they made it kind of a way that God becomes a very fatherly figure. They may say in theory that he's also mother and father, but mostly connection is as a father. Buddhists don't connect at all the same way. They don't have actually a connection really directly with God. It's mostly with nirvana and the light, the element of light. In Hinduism, then it's complex because God has many forms, many addresses, and you can go shopping also in that way. So decide, I'd like my God to have 6 arms. Okay, then you have about a choice here. But if you prefer God with 12 arms, there's another set here. I don't think there are options without arms, but 6, 8, 10, 12,000, it works. You can do shopping if you want, based on how you want. How many heads, that also you have choices. And then, what's incense he burns, that also has different options. So it's like different belief systems. And in Hinduism, I'm not expert, but I understand that some will follow God Rama, some will follow God Krishna. They don't necessarily agree with each other. They respect, but it's not the same, just don't believe the same thing. And you talk to Jewish people, they have a totally different understanding of God. And Muslim have a different understanding. They even say that Christian, Muslim, and Jewish people, have a common root as it's a one God religion. So is there right or wrong? In Rajaga, we don't go that way. We go more into how do I connect? How do I create that connection? And relationship with the higher power for us starts with identifying myself properly to start with, and then trying to connect. So if I connect as a human being and I say, I, Eric, I'm praying God, then it's a human being looking at a being which is not human. And that creates a strange connection. Because it's like, I'll be gross, but for me, I expect my parents to have 2 legs, 2 arms, and 1 head. I don't know about yours, but I expect mine to be that kind of, shaped. If I had no legs, but I was a fish, I would expect my mom and dad to have no legs and to be a fish, right? So we would expect connecting with parents to be of the same species. Now, God is different because we connect with God which is not in a human shape, but I'm in a human shape. And that's why we feel there's a little problem in communication. If I start to talk to fishes, I have a problem because I don't talk the language. And I may enjoy fishes, but I can't communicate very well with fishes. I don't know about you. You can speak fish language. It doesn't work well. So how do we talk to a being that we don't still feel very clear about what's the name, what's the form, where is he, or where she is, or where it is, and what does it do, and what's my relationship with that being? Am I in a relationship where if I make a mistake, I'll be punished? Is that my relationship? Because that's usually called a judge or a policeman. So is God a policeman? Is God a judge? I don't know. Am I in a relationship where if I ask enough and so many times, eventually I'll be my prayers or my requests will be answered, right? Is that the type of relationship I have? Or is my relationship such that I know whatever I need, I'll get it because he's my good friend and he's very rich, So if he's so rich, if I need money, I know I'll get it. Do you have rich friends? Like extremely rich, multi-millionaires friends? I don't. But I would like to have one, a very close friend. Those who marry, by the way, sometime on the list, that is their bank account, but that's on their own on the wish list. But I know that if you go out with someone who is extremely rich and you go to a restaurant, most likely that person will say, don't worry, I'm going to pay the bill. And you say, yes, thank you, it's fine. Once in a while you may say, okay, if it's a McDonald's and the bill is little, that's fine. But if you go to an expensive restaurant and your friend is extremely rich, you might expect and enjoy the friend to pay the bill. So what's my relationship with the Supreme? Does he pay bills or does he make me pay the bills? What kind of relationship I have? Am I a beggar in front of God? Do I have to beg and do penance and fast and, whip myself and bang myself in the walls so that he can finally give me 2 pennies? Is that my relationship with God? Or do I feel that there is abundance and that I receive more than I ask and I don't ask anything because I receive anyway so much more? Is it a relationship that I feel only sometimes? Or is it a relationship which is such that every day when I wake up, the first thing in my mind is, hey, where are you? I want to see you. Can I spend a few moments with you? I love to be with you because when I'm with you, I'm so happy and I'm so quiet and I feel so powerful. Where are you? I like to be with you. Is that my relationship? Or is it that I wake up in the morning and say, oh my God, my head, what time it is? Where is the coffee? And then, Supreme Being is not before noon. He gave appointment not before noon and on Sunday only. Sorry, but during the week, I'm not available for relationship. I'll see you on Sunday and I'll be very happy with it. Next, rest of the week, I'm busy with my family. These are the questions. And the relationship is real. If I were to ask you your relationship with your father, physical father, I'm sure we may have, as many ways to describe our relationship with our father as we are here in the room. Some might say, I see him once every 2-3 years, and it's okay. Some of you may be calling your father every day, because it's a very close relationship. Some may say, my dad, he's not really my dad, he's more like my friend, we're so close. Other people might say, my dad, I don't talk to him for the last 25 years. Okay, different relationships. And what those relationships will bring to me, well, then that's up to me. But those relationships would be based on how do I connect? What do I know about? For me, I thought I knew my dad, physical dad. And I was, I think, about 24, or 23, 24, I think, something like that, when I decided one day, and that was after I became journalist, so maybe that's why I did that. But only when I was 24, one day I decided to really interview him deeply. And we sat in the evening, and I surprised him. And I started to ask him very deep questions about his past, his relationship with my mom, with us, because my parents divorced, so we went away, we came back, we went away again. It's a complicated relationship. And, he told me things that I never heard about. And I realized that knowing this, my feelings changed. I had the same experience with one of my sister, physical sister. We didn't live together for so many years. She was in France, I was here. And even when we were young, in France, the schools can be very far from where you live. So she went to a school, I was in a different school. My life was, I was very centered around what was important to me. So I was totally ignorant of what she went through. Plus I changed cities and I changed country. I met her a few years ago one day and we were eating together and I realized, who is she? I have no idea who is this person. She's my sister. And then we talked for hours and hours and hours, and she told me things about her childhood that I never heard about. And I was really shocked to think I've been calling her my sister for so many years, and yet I don't know her. And after sharing, I always had love for her for sure, but that love multiplied by 100, because connection was different. So the point is about how do I connect, and then how is my relationship? And we would argue in spirituality that if we don't feel really, like literally, I know with people I have a good relationship, if they love me, it will happen, something will happen. There might be a little bag with food on my door that will show up one day, or there might be a little postcard. There might be an email coming. There might be a gift one day being given to me on my birthday. That's a sign the person loves me, isn't it? And if you get a big cactus on the day of your birthday, you might wonder, does she love me? Or is it a message? Or what is it? Why cactus? You might wonder what's happening. And if you get a big bang on your car with hacks on your wood, you might say, I think this person doesn't love me very much. To be clear message. And it's your wife, Okay, it didn't get well the last few weeks. So there are signs of relationship, isn't it? You can tell that a relationship manifests in specific ways. So if we ask ourselves, what's my relationship with the Supreme? Am I devotionally connecting with the Supreme, or am I connecting on the basis of a real relationship? Do I talk to the Supreme? How do I talk to the Supreme? What do I expect? And in spirituality, what we experience more and more is that if we really question a little bit the connection, and if we try to answer those 6 points differently, we find that the relationship can become quite incredible. Because what we're talking about basically is for us the Supreme Soul, or Paramatma in Hindi they call it, or God. To us is more like a source of energy which is extremely pure. And that's why we like to call the Supreme Being an ocean of peace, ocean of love, ocean of happiness. It's an abundance. And our experience is that the Supreme Being is like the sun, if you want. And if you look at the sun, you feel the warmth, you feel life comes from it. There's energy coming from the sun. And our experience is that if I connect, which is the word we use is yoga, or connection with the Supreme, brings energy, qualities, experiences. My experiences of connecting with God. Before I used to go to church, And I would pray, and I would ask, and I would be punished because of my mistakes. So you go in Christian church, you go to a confessional, and if you're a naughty boy like I was, you come with your little list. So you can say the same thing every week to the priest, and he doesn't mind, he doesn't remember. And then you don't have to think about all the mistakes you've done in the week, because there's so many that I say it's always the same anyway. Lied to your mom, got lazy a little bit, didn't do your homework, was hiding something from your sister. So I would make a list, tell the priest, and he will tell you, okay, you do 3 Hail Mary, through so many prayers, and you'll be forgiven. So you go on a bench on your knees, go through your rosary, do your prayers, and then after that, go and do the same mistakes, anyway, because you're forgiven. So you can do the same thing. Next week he'll give you the same prayers. That's what I used to do anyway. And so that connection was very limited in a way. I cannot say that I was getting, sometimes I will be singing in a choir, and then I will feel, whoa, some beautiful moments. Then I would know at that time the sacredness of the ceremony would hit me. There would be beauty in the ceremony, and then you feel, oh, okay, there's sacredness here. There's something beyond just a nice song or good smell or something. You could tell there was something happening. Some people go to church and they get visions. They get really powerful vision that they feel, wow, their connection was working with their faith. So based on what thoughts they are using, that will be creating the connection. So in soul consciousness, in Raj Yoga, what we talk about is sitting as a soul, seeing myself as a soul, and we use that image, which is like the being of light in the center of the forehead. They call it Jyoti Bindu, or Prakash, the light in the center of the forehead. And that's why they put a mark. Most tradition tend to know there's something there. If you imagine I, the soul, I'm in my knees, try it. For me, it doesn't work. I know it's not there. Because everybody who has lost their legs, normally they still think, they still have a soul. So I know soul is not there. I've tried in the stomach. I don't think it's there. There's nothing there. But here, it makes sense that the soul is really sitting in a very specific area in the body. So it connects to the body and can direct the body through the mouth, the eyes, the ears, the hands. The soul is the puppeteer and the body is the puppet. So when we sit with the awareness to be a soul, then we wonder, is everybody a soul? Did I ever connect to the world as people being souls? So we exercise ourselves in Raj Yoga, and I know it sounds a bit strange sometimes, but we exercise ourselves to go on the street sometime, quietly, don't say it out loud, just look at people and say, this is a soul, this is interesting, soul in the body, okay, tiny soul, yeah, nice body, okay, moving around, nice soul, okay, different body, soul, 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 and you just think, this is soul, this is soul. It sounds very strange in the beginning, but if you practice it a little bit, I can guarantee to you it's a very nice feeling. And I had a recent strange experience at work where there was some big decision made by management, and normal reaction would be, and then you don't like this person anymore. They torture your life, you don't like them. And the only thing I could practice was repeating to myself, listen, this is a soul. It's not my boss, it's a soul. And that soul is doing this, and that soul is doing that, and that soul is playing its role. And I have to keep myself a little bit distant, otherwise I'm going to get really angry. And if I don't pay attention, I'm going to react to my boss or my colleague or whatever. But looking at the person as a soul makes a different, changes the mind, changes the thinking. I know it's a strange explanation, but if, for example, you're on the sidewalk and the person in front of you walks very, very slowly and you are in a hurry, what would be your reaction? Say, come on, move, come on, I'm in a hurry. You want to push the person there, let me go, I'm in a hurry. But then when you pass the person, you realize that person is blind and totally handicapped. and it's just trying to make it through. As soon as you know that that person has a handicap, what will be your feeling? Oh, I'm sorry. Can I help you? So you're still in a hurry, but you might still want to help the person because you understand what the condition of that person is. So on a spiritual level, sometimes we feel the same way. You might see somebody acting in a certain way and you feel angry or you feel negative. But if you look at the person as a soul, you realize that soul may be suffering. That soul is not functioning well. That soul is not connecting with certain values. So that soul is limited. And then you feel, okay, well, let me help. Let me have good wishes. There's no need to bang on that person. Just the soul is not functioning well. And who am I to judge anyway? Most of the time, probably dysfunctioning as well. So let's have feeling of mercy and good feeling for the other person. So we change the thoughts based on understanding. That changes the connection, and it changes the relationship. So with the Supreme, it's a little bit the same. We think, I'm a soul, everybody is a soul, and the Supreme is a soul. In Hindi, they call it Paramatma, Atma Paramatma. So the soul and the Supreme Soul. Sometimes they think that it's bigger, and we say, it's not really bigger, it's just a soul, but it has energy. It has extreme energy. And we understand in spirituality that every soul has its own energy, and every soul is unique. Some souls, you can tell, they really carry an aura. They walk in and you feel, oh. Some souls, what do they feel? What do you feel? They're very peaceful. They just smile, they're not, but you can feel this peace coming. Some souls are very loving. It's not just their personality. It's that deep inner state of mind, that inner quality of the heart, that is just loving. And every time you see them, you feel like smiling and okay. Some souls may be very disturbed and they're very arrogant and aggressive. As soon as they come up, you say, oh, don't say a word. Just say, he's going to send me a cactus, not just at the door, but right on my face. Don't say anything. You can tell right away that the energy is different, isn't it? So the Supreme Soul to us is a soul, but supreme because of the qualities. And every human soul throughout history has been searching to connect with that Supreme Soul. Why? Because there has been connection before. Like a child and a parent, there has been connection, but there has been also disconnection. And because we broke that connection, then we're searching for that connection again. And we're searching and praying, begging, and then we lose hope because nothing is happening. It's like you're dialing the number, and there's never any answers. Well, tired of trying. And many people today on earth are just tired because connection is not happening. They do everything that is written in the recipe, and it turns sour. And they try to eat what they did in the recipe. That's not good. But maybe recipe had a problem. And over time, by telling recipe to recipe to recipe, somebody forgot that, oops, there was another ingredient. And that's why it's not happening. So we believe that the soul, when it connects to the Supreme Soul, it first has to be knowing who I am, the one connecting. And if I come to the space of consciousness and I say, I am a soul, and I'm looking at God as a soul, we're the same species. We can talk the same language. If I say, I, the little cockroach on earth, I'm so nothing, I'm just dust, you are so great and so high, doesn't start a relationship very well. If you meet someone and you say, I'm just so bad and so terrible, and you say, what do? You're creating a distance. You're making the other one so high and you so low. That would be the connection. It's not called friendly. So what we do in Raj Yoga, and we say, hey, you come here. Sorry, I'm here, but I need you to come here. I can go up a little bit, but you come here. Which means I'm a soul, you are a soul, and I want to connect as a soul. And then I may say, I, the soul, I'm a little bit disturbed, because I'm not always thinking beautifully, but you Apparently you're God, and I'm told that your thinking is pretty good, that your energy is pretty nice. That's why you're called God. And if you don't have that good energy, you'll lose your job. So you better stay good energy and keep thinking good, because that's why we love you. And why we made you God, or why we know you're God, is because you are the only soul that remains eternally perfect. But we human souls, we change over time. So yoga, or connection with the Supreme, is about understanding, maybe initially, that if I change my wording, my thinking, maybe connection will change. And so that's what we do in meditation. Meditation is just selecting thoughts, deciding, let me try to think this way for a while. So we propose to people in meditation, well, let's try for a few weeks to say to the self, I am a soul. Let's see what happens. And if you prefer another experience, I can show you. You say for 3 weeks, you repeat to yourself every day, I'm really stupid, I'm really stupid, I'm really stupid. Try that for 3 weeks, and tell me how you feel after that. And if somebody says, you're so smart, you say, no, I'm really stupid. Because you've been repeating it for 3 weeks. And it's a bad example. I should.
So, just like you said that I am a soul, I am a soul. There is a Sanskrit mantra, Soham, I am that.
Soham.
If we say like that, Soham, then it's the same thing.
We use even the mantra, Ham So Soham. What I was, I will become again, because it's the same. We use that. Same, we understand that knowledge is very similar in many different cultures. It's just how we use it. Sometimes that we forgot. That I believe that what we teach in meditation here is fairly universal. Love, peace, happiness, purity. I mean, these are the qualities we want to create. But we look at the Supreme Being just as another soul. And we find that if I connect, if I feel as a soul, I will understand what is a soul. If I see other people as a soul, I'm getting to understand better the language of the soul, which is vibration, energy, attitude, awareness. These are the realities of the soul. The body is shape, weight, age, and all these things. Soul is different. And if I start to become sensitive to recognizing the characteristics of a soul, then when I sit in silence and I say to God, hey, you're the Supreme, wow, so you're always pure? I'd love to, get a little bit better. Can we connect, and can you share that purity with me? For me, this is relationship. This is like sitting in quietness and say, hey, you are the ocean of love. I'd love to feel that. I'd love to be with you and show me what it is to be a soul filled with love. And then we start to create that connection where you need that love and you know how to get it. And you connect. We say sometimes the best 3 approaches: first to connect, then you collect, so you receive, you accumulate, you get peace, love, then you correct. Then you can adjust our own thinking and feeling. If I'm upset with someone at work, well, instead of connecting with the person I'm upset with, why don't I say, okay, I'll be right back to you, hold on. And you sit in quietness and say, hey, are you here? I need you, come quickly, I need to chat with you. Then you connect with the Supreme and you say, how are you doing? You have extra love? I think I need it because it's a problem at work. Then we connect with the Supreme, try to fill ourselves with love, peace, really. I mean, I've done it many times, and those are yogis, that's what we do. You connect, you feel, you collect. Then you go back to your body. What were you saying? Then you're a little bit more positive. But we have to get it somewhere. As I come back to the analogy in the beginning, if I need information, I go on my phone, but the phone has to connect so I can get information. So if I want love, if I want peace, if I want happiness, I can go to God, but how do I connect to God? I need to have the right method. And that yoga is what we try to develop in meditation. And that connection happens through the mind, the thinking, proper thinking. I'm a soul, you are a soul, you're my friend, you're eternal, you're the ocean. I want to become like you. Teach me. Tell me how I can become better. I want to know. And he's not going to answer just like that, sending you a little email, with the proof. It's not going to happen. So we talk, and the answer comes. They say sometimes God has mysterious ways to connect. But if you're aware, you hear the signals, you hear the voice, you hear the power, you feel the love. Recently I really went through some kind of, interesting test. And I was really challenging God to say, are you there? Are you going to help me in a way? And I'm not supposed to ask. It's okay. I know you know what to, we always joke and we say, don't ask God anything. He knows what he has to do. He's very clever. He knows what he has to do. But still I was checking if he knew I was in trouble, so he can help. And then I was just being silent. And I was expecting help, in a very physical way. Love, energy, and this and the other. And I found it came really on the side. Signals, ideas, situations that came up. And I realized, you're really funny, can't you talk French? You should try French, it's very easy. He doesn't speak French, doesn't speak Hindi, doesn't speak any language. It comes through energy, through power, through situation, through other people. It's very interesting. But how do I connect? If that connection is alive, then there's something that comes. And then I maintain that relationship. I've always found it very nice that they say, people believe sometimes that God makes everything happen. They say if the leaves moves in a tree, God makes them move. And we say, not really. Leaves can move on their own, wind exists and doesn't need God. But if I'm connecting with the Supreme, everything makes sense. And even if I see leaves moving in a tree, I would feel that my connection is appreciating that as a presence. So it's a very beautiful, powerful experience that we can get. And then the experience we have is we wake up in the morning and we want to be in that company. During the day you want to be in that company, and in the evening you go, hi. And I always say with human beings, it's nice. You go home and you say, hello, darling, are you here? Smells good. I'm happy. There will be meal. When I go home, I say, hello, God, are you here? Doesn't smell anything. He doesn't cook the meal for me. But it's a different relationship. And it shows itself in a different format. And I was told one day, don't expect God to give you what human beings will give you. But look into God so He can give you what human beings cannot give you. And I've always remembered that as being a beautiful element to connect. Not to expect God to be human, but expect God to make me divine, which is what I like in Raj Yoga. Does it make sense? Or I know this is your first time, so it might be a little bit direct topic.
Sir, one question. Sir, can you elaborate a little bit about Raj Yoga, what it is?
Right, yeah. Actually, can I invite you for next week? Because it's not a trick. As a matter of fact, I was asked if I could be here next Friday, because it's the beginning of a course, and the person who's supposed to start the course is not going to be here. So I'm going to be here next Friday, and I'm proposing that we're going to mix the group. There will be new people coming as well, and the topic will be really an introduction to Raj Yoga. So I'll be very happy to, because it will take a full hour, and it's such a beautiful, to me, of course, I've been doing it for so many years. I like it. I think this is a very good method or approach or technique, if you want, in a way. I'll be happy to share many aspects of Raj Yoga. What is Raj Yoga meditation? How do we do it? And like the basic 101 introduction to Raj Yoga. I'll do that next Friday. So I'd like to invite you if you can come. And we'll go into all the depth of it. And I invite all of you to join us. So if you can next week, if you like it. Because meditation is, it's really an art. Like yoga. We call it actually Raj Yoga. So it is yoga, but yoga of the mind. So we don't sit the body in a lotus position, but we sit the mind in a lotus position. So we create a state of mind which is like the lotus. That's called Raj Yoga. And that's what we'll do next time. So you don't need any mats or any stretch pants, but you'll need to stretch your mind. And after a few sessions of Raj Yoga in the beginning, you feel like, he talks so much. But you have the whole week afterwards to filter all this and play with it. So, right? I know some have been coming for old friends for so many years, and I keep repeating similar ideas, but always different, right? So let's close maybe with just a little short meditation again, but that will make more sense to you now with what we shared. And we'll just close with a few minutes, and then we'll continue. And if you are interested in this topic of relationship, the first and second session are on the YouTube channel for Brahma Kumaris Montreal. So you do Brahma Kumaris Montreal in YouTube, and we have put them there. So let's meditate. And our meditation is actually a bit different, and I'll invite you to follow a few thoughts that I'll share in the beginning and focus on your own thoughts. And I call this meditation fill in the blank. So I speak, but in between thoughts you put your own thoughts. And in this meditation we like to put the body in a position that is comfortable, so the body is alert and doesn't fall asleep. So having the body in a straight position also gives the whole feeling of your body is alert and relaxed. I like you to put your feet really flat on the floor, but your hands also, try to put your hands here, and I'll share with you something interesting with that. And in the beginning we just breathe nicely, so we just relax the body. But very importantly, I would invite you to keep your eyes open. And this meditation, we don't close eyes. And we'll explain in depth why. But what you do is that you put your eyes, they're like, it's a muscle, and you relax your eyes, it's a muscle. And you let your eyes go in front of you. The eyes are open or half closed, you just make them very relaxed. It's a little bit like being in daydreaming. You can focus on something, but basically you let the vision get blurry a little bit. Just fix something, either the candle or the flowers or the painting behind, or just straight in front of you. Your eyes are open, which means I'm aware of the room around me. I'm aware there are other people, and that I'm taking time for myself right now. And even if my eyes are open, I'm just going to concentrate on my thoughts. And I'm going to create beautiful thoughts. Just like if I had to cook for myself, I would want to cook nicely, select the best ingredients, and prepare a meal. In the same way, I'm going to select a few thoughts, and I'm going to prepare my consciousness. And just to start this meditation, I invite you to feel through your feet the energy of the earth. This amazing earth that we live on. All the roots of the trees, the soil, the fire in the middle of the earth, the power of the elements generating energy that I feel is coming through my feet. It's a beautiful energy coming into my physical body. And my body is connecting with the physical world. I separate slowly my mind from my body, knowing that the body belongs to nature. Energy comes through the body, a little bit like the sap goes through the tree. And I imagine that energy going through my arms, reaching my hands. And I just feel how much energy comes through my hands, touching my body. There is warmth. There's power. There's energy coming through my hands. And now I focus all my attention to the center of the forehead. And I can feel that this is where I, the soul, live. It's a different energy, the energy of the mind, the energy of the heart. It doesn't come from nature. It's just I, the energy, the living being, the conscious being. And I can imagine in the center of the forehead just the beautiful light shining, the light of the soul. It is I, the soul, creating thoughts. It is not my body thinking. It is I, the soul, thinking. And I can choose my thoughts. Because whatever I think, this is what I become. If I think peace, I become peace. If I think love, I become love. If I think happiness, I become happiness. And thoughts are such a beautiful energy. I can play with my thoughts and create thoughts that bring beauty, that bring strength into the soul. And with just a thought, I can forgive. Or I can just give. With a thought, I can connect with others and with the world and share peace. I can share love. And I receive peace. And I receive love. as a thought, I can connect to the Supreme. The ocean of light, the ocean of love, the ocean of peace. And the Supreme give me the strength, the love, and the peace. So, thank you for being here. I hope you enjoy that little moment and feel how much we can quiet the mind and just tap into beautiful energy. And it's just the beginning, we're just scratching, but this is the beginning of something that could have lasted an hour. And that's what we do on Sunday night. Sunday evening we just meditate for an hour and take a full hour to... But you need to train it a little bit, otherwise the mind will go everywhere. But if the mind has a little bit training, then we call this a spiritual gym. You can come to your spiritual gym and we give you weight to lift and things to stretch and be in good shape. Not bigger, smaller, just small, tiny soul. And so, anyway, wish you well, good evening, thanks for your ears, and maybe meet you next Friday. Om Shanti, good night.